Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this week's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this little ornament for the Christmas tree since it's Christmas tomorrow. So I thought this was a super cute thing to do for the holiday season because everyone needs something personal to decorate their tree with, and I thought this is just super cute. So this is called like a mandala flower, and it is still a friendship bracelet because it's essentially knots but in a bit of a different way. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this, and if you want to learn how to make it, keep watching. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and go check out my Instagram, which is the same name as my YouTube channel. So what you're going to need for this project is 6 colors. Normally I do it in a gradient because I think it looks the best. So this is the gradient that I've chosen. It is an orange to a purple. Even though it's not really Christmassy, I really like it, so I'm going to be doing it. So here I did a gradient from red to green. And you need 6 colors and 1 base color, which I normally do white, which you really only see here and in those tiny little knots on the side. So you really don't see it too much, but I'm going to be using white. So I've got my white right here. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to cut 7 strings of each color, including the white, and I make them around this long. It's around a foot in length. It's not too long. When I fold it in half, it's really just like that. So it's around a foot in length, so you're going to cut 7 of each color, and I'll be right back once I do that, and you should have 49 strings, 7 of 7 colors. So here we have all of my strings. I just cut them and I arranged them and I separated them to make it a bit easier for me when I actually start knotting. So this again is my gradient, and then these are my base strings, and I cut them the exact same way as my regular strings. And I do have to say, a disclaimer of this is that it's a bit uncomfortable to knot, so you can't just knot it like a regular bracelet, like put it on a clipboard, because you actually have to tape down 2 sides, so you will also need some tape and scissors, but that's obvious, you always need scissors. So I also have some tape that I'm going to use to tape my strings down while I'm working on them. So the first step that you're going to do is you're going to move all of your colored strings off to the side, and I have my base strings right here, and I'm going to start by taking 1 base string and taping it down to my workspace. So just like that, I didn't do anything too special, I just taped it on. I'm going to move it so that it's a bit more centered, just like so. And I'm going to press down the tape because I don't want it to undo itself. So then I'm going to take my remaining base strings, I should have 6, and you're going to take the first one, and you're going to do what is called a slip knot, which means you're going to fold it in half, put it underneath, take the loop, and pull through just like that, and then tighten it, and you've got a slip knot. So you're going to do this with all 6. So again, you're going to fold it in half, put it underneath, and pull through. And this is definitely a lot easier to do if this string tension is very high. So always try and tape it as tight as possible. So now we've got 2. Grab the next one. Fold it, put it under. Just like that, and you always want to pull them to make sure that they're tight enough. So we're going to put them all on until I have all 6. Alright, so now I've put all of the 6 strings on, and I am ready to start knotting. So the first step is going to be to separate one of the slip knots. So move all the other ones to the side and just have your slip knots. And now you're going to grab 1 string of each color and set it up so that it's easy for you. So I have my strings back here, and I'm just going to remove one string of each color, and to make it easier for you guys to see, I'll put them all over here. Normally if I was doing this by myself, the strings wouldn't be this organized and stuff, because it does take extra time, but I feel like it's a lot easier for people to follow along. So you just take a string of each color, just like that. So again, you should have 6 strings, and you're going to start by taking the first one. And so this part, I find it a lot easier to take a bit of tape and tape down this string so that there's tension here. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put this string under and make a knot. And then what I like doing is I like holding these to make sure that it stays in the middle. So once I know it's in the middle, I'm going to just pull, just like that. So now you're going to repeat the exact same thing. Take your next string, put it underneath, make sure it's in the middle, and then do a knot. And then once you make the knot, you're going to bring it up right next to it. It's pretty simple. Really just knotting it on. So it's like doing a regular knot, except you're only doing it once. You are not doing 2 knots. Perfect, and now the last one. Just like so. So you've just completed the first step, and it should look something like that. So now the next step is going to be to grab your tape and put it right here next to it. So these, you can leave them here as long as you don't pull them off. And so now you're going to start knotting. And the process is you're going to take the first string that you tied on, which should be my dark purple, and I'm just going to knot as if it was a chevron down all of these. So I'm just going to be doing simple forward knots all the way down. This part you want to be careful because the knots are still pretty loose that you originally tied on, and you don't want them to shuffle around too much. So try and be really careful. Like that. So I'm just knotting it. And then once you get to the middle, you have to knot it on the white as well. So for this part, you can remove the tape and just divide the whites in 2 and then just knot with one of them. Perfect. And now you've got that, and you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So you're going to just do simple forward knots. And it should already start coming together. I personally think it looks super duper cool. So you just knot with forward or backward knots, depending on which side you are, until you reach the middle. It's pretty simple. It's really just a chevron. Just like that. And then once you get in the middle, you're going to tie both of the strings together. Just like that. And that's all you're going to knot with the purple. So that's why my strings really aren't too long. So now you're going to repeat this process with all of the strings. Alright, so now after completing the second row, I will continue to do the same thing with the remaining rows. So I will take the purple and knot it on everything until I reach the middle. I'm actually going to move this a little closer to the top so that you guys can see how I knot it. Perfect. So you're going to try and keep your knots as neat as possible, so always try and look how much you really need to tie, like tighten your knot and everything, because this can actually be very easy to mess up if you don't pay attention because all of the strings are just so close together. So you really want to be sure that you're knotting as neatly as possible. So that is the third row. And now again, just repeat the same thing on the other side. And a lot of people think that this is actually really fast to make, but it takes quite a long time to do each petal. And then what I'm showing you guys right now, you're gonna have to do 6 more times. So it really can take a long time, and it's a little hard to get the hang of it. Like I said, the actual knotting isn't necessarily hard. It's how long it takes and where you're making the knots, because it's really only forward and backward. There's not even any forward, backward, or anything. So yeah, you're always gonna just keep knotting until you get to the middle, exactly like you would if you were making a chevron. There we go. So I'm going to now do the last 3, and I'll be back once I finish the first petal. So this is what a petal should look like once it's completed. It should have the 6 colors in the middle and then this nice shape. And so now once you finish that, you can take the tape and pull this one all the way to the end, and then pull the next one right here, and then move the tape back. And then you're going to grab a piece and put it at the bottom, and then now grab your colors again and do the exact same process for each of the remaining 5 petals, exactly like this one. So if you need to watch again, go ahead and rewind, and I'll come back once I finished all 6. Alright, so after working on this for quite a while, I finally finished 6 petals. So I finished all of the strings that I had put slip knots on, and this is what it looks like right now. So after doing all of the petals, it should look like this, and now we're going to tie these 2 strings together, but as you can see, they're not even, so I'm just going to pull until they move a bit more to the middle. Too much. So this is really you just based on how yours is. Try and arrange them so that they're in the middle. I have one slip knot that I tightened a bit too much and it doesn't move. It moves really hard, so I'm just going to try and pull on it. But there we go, that's a bit better. So now what I'm gonna do is you're going to tighten it, and this part is really probably the most difficult part. So you're going to first of all try and arrange each of them to form the flower. And then once you think that the tension is good, you can knot it. So what I normally do is I put a finger on and I hold it, and then with the other hand I make my knot, because I can't find any other way to do this. You could try putting it on a clipboard, but that didn't really work for me. So there we go, just like that. I made the final knot, and now for this, I'm going to grab my clipboard, and now I'm going to just sort of attach it with my 2 white strings that I just knotted on the bottom so I can work with them. Okay, we're just gonna clip it on, just like that. Alright, so I just did the knot. And so right now, you're just going to continue like normal. So you're going to tape down these, and then just, you know, grab your strings and start by making the slip knots. So that's pretty much it for actually making the flower. So now this last petal, you do it like normal, and I'll be back as soon as I finish this last petal, which shouldn't take too long. It's just like one regular petal. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. Alright, so I just finished the 7th petal and it looks like this. So now the next step is to make these white knots and then the triangle ends. So I have a tutorial for triangle ends on my channel and I will leave that linked in the description. So you should definitely go watch that for a more in-depth tutorial on how to make the triangle ends, because I'm just going to be doing them, not explaining it. So the first thing you're going to do is, again, arrange them and then put one side in your clipboard, just like that. Okay. So then you're going to pick 2 petals and then take this leftmost and rightmost white strings on the side and you're just going to do a knot. There we go. Then you're going to do the triangle end. Like this, so you should go watch that tutorial. I'm just doing a regular triangle end, exactly like I would for any other bracelet. It's really not different at all, which is why I like this, because it's quite simple. So once you finish this side for the triangle end, you're going to do the same thing for this side. And then essentially that's all you have to do for everything. You just, every time you take 2 petals, you knot it in the middle, and then you do a triangle end on the outside. You can also do all of the white knots at the beginning. I just find that they open if you don't do the entire triangle end. And instead of like undoing them and doing them again, I find it easier to just do it right before you do the triangle end. So just like that, I just finished one and it looks like that. So now I just have to do that for every single petal. I will do one more on camera and then I'll finish the rest off camera. So also it's completely normal if they get tangled. Okay, so right now I'm just going to pick 2, put the rest in the clipboard, make the first knot, just like so. This knot is really important, so you want to make sure that you take your time and you arrange everything. And now you're just going to do the triangle end, and that's pretty much it. So just like, alright, so I just finished all of the triangle ends and it is already starting to look like this. So now the last step is to simply make knots for each one. So again, I'm gonna grab the clipboard, just pin it on, and really just taking it and trying to make knots. Grab all the string, and it might be a bit hard, especially if you have really short strings like me. So this might take a couple of tries, trying to get like all the strings to cooperate with you, but it will work eventually. You just gotta keep trying. And some of them might be left out, so you're gonna wanna push them through. But since, as you can see, it's really hard, I'm just going to turn off the camera, otherwise it's gonna be a really long video, and I'm going to try and knot all of these, and then I'll come back once I've finished all of the knots. Hopefully it won't take too long, but I'll be back once I've just done all the knots. So I just did 6 knots, and then on this one I'm actually going to do a twisted tie so that I can actually like hang it or take pictures with it. So I'm just going to do a twisted tie here, and then it's going to be done. Alright, so as you can see, I've finished everything. I cut it and I knotted it and I did a little tie. It's a bit short because my strings were getting a little short. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to make these Christmas mandala ornaments. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And comment down below some other video ideas that you guys want me to do. So thank you so much for watching and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Bye!